Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? My name's What's Going On, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on back to a brand new Blitz News update. And today, it's a doozy. It might be something that is quite upsetting to many of you, including myself. Look, I'm not going to lie. This news is not something that I would say I would be very excited about, but I also think people need to kind of put things into perspective and realize the reality of the situation, I guess. So here's the thing. So if you don't know, again, I guess I shouldn't even call this news because necessarily at this point in time, it's just a rumor. So take this with a grain of salt. I don't know how big or anything like that, but there's definitely a lot of rumors that have been swirling in the last week or so about the fact that LEGO Dimensions would not be continuing into its third year. So, of course, a lot of people got up in arms and got furious and started throwing pitchforks around and like, how dare they do this? But you have to realize always in these types of situations that there is also a business element to all of these decisions. So you have to understand that if something is not performing financially well or is showing signs of slowing down and decline, it makes more sense for the team at whoever's working on this, Telltale Games or Telltale. Why am I always say Telltales. I'm always confused that Traveler's Tales or the folks who are putting the resources in on the Warner Brothers side of things, or even the people who are involved from the Lego team. You have to realize that if they look at something that is shrinking and declining, it's one of those things where they have to make a decision of, hey, we need to possibly shut this down and divert all the resources that are being used to create LEGO Dimensions onto other projects. So if that's the case, like what I will say is this much. As long as the people who are working at Traveler's Tales over at WB and the people who are working on LEGO Dimensions will get to work on other LEGO projects, if that's what they choose to do, then I think that this is not terrible news. Because to me, I would much rather them take those resources and, let's say, make a full-fledged, I don't know, Lego Ninjago game, right? Like for the Ninjago movie that's coming out, like if they made a big Lego game that was built for that, and then maybe the next year after that, we would get another big Lego Batman game or Lego Marvel Superheroes game or something like that. Because if you haven't noticed, because a lot of the resources were going to Lego Dimensions, since there's just so much content to develop on that side of things, I think that kind of hindered the marketplace of the traditional Lego games that we have come to expect. Now, of course, we did get Lego Worlds, but that has been in early access for over a year now. So it's one of those things where I know a lot of people say, hey, they bring up the interviews of when they said Lego Dimensions is committed to 3 years. But I also think that there's a little bit of nuance there. From what I recall, they committed to 3 years of using the same portal. So they said like, hey, we're not going to have you buy a new starter pack. You're not going to need to buy another portal in order to continue to play the game. So to me, look, if you see that the sales are going down, like let's say Lego Dimensions year 1, stellar success, so we can piggyback off of that into year 2. But if year 2 is selling weekly and they're having a really tough time justifying putting this much money, this much manpower into making all of these levels, creating all of these characters, making them all distinctly different, recording voice lines, recording special effects, all of this, if it's not financially viable anymore, or if it means that, hey, they would have to take a hit or they would have to maybe shrink down the development team or something like that, I would much rather that they just abandon ship and went ahead and focused on a new game and developed a big Lego game. So here's the thing. So let's run this down again. Keep in mind, this doesn't mean that there won't be Lego Dimensions year 3. Please listen to this element, because I know there will be people in the comments saying, how could he possibly justify this decision? I'm not happy about it, but you also have to understand the way that business works and the way that these kinds of decisions work. It's one of those things where, hey, if something is not successful, they can't just keep doing it because that's what they promised to do. It's not like, to me, it's not like we all like pre-ordered year 3 content or something like that, and then suddenly they pulled it from underneath us. So to me, this is kind of, as long as we get everything that was promised to us for year 2, like then I'm okay with it because at least there were no promises that are being broken for year 3 stuff because we didn't know what year 3 even had to offer. So as long as we still get, the Powerpuff Girls set, the Goonies set, they finish out all of that line and say, hey guys, Lego Dimensions was this really cool, awesome experiment for 2 years. We enjoyed it. We hope the people who bought the game and enjoyed the world enjoyed it, and you can continue to play it and so on and so forth. To me, that's a reasonable decision, and I think that as long as the people who are working on the project don't get like laid off or anything like that, then I'm okay with it because it would suck if suddenly there was like cuts or anything like that. That's never pleasant to see, and there would be no reason to celebrate something like that. So, with all that out of the way, let me know what you guys think. Are you in the camp of, hey, this is ridiculous, this is stupid, I don't care what you say, I do not want this game to be canceled, I do not want this to happen, I'm just gonna irrationally not stop to think at all and just be fully emotional and that's it? Which, hey, by the way, as a paying consumer, you have the right to do that. Just make sure you don't attack people or anything like that. Remember, it's just potentially a business decision. Then, the other thing I'm gonna again reemphasize, this is just a rumor. It's a much more prominent rumor in the last 2 days or so. It's become a lot more common, but it's been something that has been kind of in question for a while now. Several people have been saying like, hey, this is not really selling well. Year 2 sets are a lot more common to see on store shelves, so on and so forth. Personally, I have not seen that myself, so I did not, like in my areas at least, they seem to sell just as well as they did in year 1. But that could be a case-by-case basis. So for me right now, if I had to go on ahead and bet, I would agree with the fact that we're not going to see a third year for LEGO Dimensions. But I also think that it's not necessarily a bad thing, as I said before, because I am perfectly okay with them saying, hey, we enjoyed this. This was a bunch of fun. You could see how much passion there was put into almost every single one of these themes. Like some of them just had that special magic sauce on them where you could just tell people that were working on it put so much hard work. Like the Doctor Who level pack and the actual the world itself, you could see how much love there was put into that. You could just tell that the people that were working on that loved that franchise. I don't know anything about Knight Rider pretty much except for what we see in the game, but even with that in mind, I could tell that the people who were building that Knight Rider level or Knight Rider world loved that show, and they were looking for tiny little Easter eggs to throw in there, which is super duper awesome to see. So to me, it was a pure passion project, and it was an absolutely massive success on that front. So to me, I enjoyed it. If this is all we get from LEGO Dimensions year 2 is year 1 and year 2, all the franchises that were already here, I still consider it a massive success just because it was able to bring so many different themes together under one umbrella and make them all work. So to me, it's still a massive success. I want to hear your opinions down in the comment section below. Please remember to remain civil, stay human beings. If you get into debates, it's perfectly fine to get into debates in the comment section, but remember to stay civil and remember to, contextualize the entire conversation and remember what you're talking about. So thanks all for watching. Of course, like always, if you guys enjoyed this video, click the like button. I hopefully will catch you lovely folks here next time. Peace out. See you later, alligators.